It is so much fun as a parent to buy your kids a new toy and have them just love it and want to play with it. But what do you do when they start to just set that new toy aside and have no interest in it anymore? Don't worry, you're not a bad parent. Your kids just need some toy rotation. This is our toy room. I have a full tour of this space in my last video, but for now, this is where our toys live for both my daughter and my infant son. Nothing really crazy to look at here. It's just a shelf. Now, this is our toy storage. This is in our basement, and this is like a lot of toys. Maybe too many toys? For the last 3 years, we've rotated our kids' toys every week or two. When I notice that they start to act bored or they just don't really pull a toy out like they used to anymore, we just take everything downstairs and we start fresh. As much as kids need routines and just like some kind of stability, they also need to be challenged in new ways. Play is a time for them to learn and to just figure out their little worlds and explore and be creative. When you rotate their toys regularly, it helps them to rediscover new ways to play with them. Our toy shelf only has 8 shelves. So we use the bottom set mostly for our son and the top for our daughter. We also keep some toys up top, but that is mostly to keep the cat away from eating my plants. We try to fill each shelf with the 4 following categories for each of our kids. Number 1, building. This is things like blocks, Legos, magnet tiles, anything that you can like stack and you have to create something with. Number 2 is puzzles and education. This is something that will just help them like actively learn something. So we have like number puzzles, jigsaw, we have some games, some like little math counters. Number 3 is imagination. These are things like a puppet theater, a doll house, kitchen toys, or a doctor set. Something where they are using their imagination to play the game. And then number 4 is something physical. So this might be a jump rope, balls to throw, teething toys, things with textures, Play-Doh, things like that, where physically they are taking in some kind of information and learning from that. These guidelines just kind of help us make sure that the toys have some variety to them. We definitely don't always stick to this. We just try to get different categories pulled each time just to keep it a little bit more interesting. Honestly, our favorite resource for toys like this is Lovevery. And I know if you watch YouTube, you've probably heard every single YouTuber talk about this before, but it's because it's a really good kit. They are expensive. It took me like 30 months before I actually invested in one of the kits. And when I say invested, it really is an investment. You can reuse the kits for a long time. The toys are incredibly well made. They're very thoroughly researched, and they all are my kids' favorite toys by like a landslide. I thought that I was doing a good job of buying toys that were similar to Lovevery. We tried to buy like, educational toys and wooden toys, but it just does not compare. They are so well made. I promise it's well worth the money. Even if you only buy one kit, you'll probably see a difference in the way that your kids play. Now, I'm not gonna lie, those are not our only toys. Of course, we have some other ones, and we try to get a lot of our toys secondhand. So we do things like thrift shops, garage sales, and there's a local business in the area called Goodbye Gear. I'll link to them down below so you can see if you have them in your area, but you can buy and sell toys and other baby things, and we use them for everything. We especially try to look for wooden toys or toys that can be used in a variety of ways. Things like a climbing pike, a balance board, toy cars, balls, chalk, animals, stuff that isn't just like a one-use thing. And we do, of course, have some toys like this. We've gotten them as gifts, or my daughter picked it out when she was with grandma or grandpa, but she definitely doesn't play with these as much. She does like having them, and a lot of times these are handy for small things like a road trip, or if she's gonna go stay the night with a friend or something like that. But really, she doesn't reach for these toys quite as much just because there's not a lot to do with them. Even if you only have 10 or 12 different toys, putting out just 3 or 4 at a time and rotating those through can help your kids feel a lot less overwhelmed. We're lucky to have the storage space in our basement, but when we lived in an apartment, we just used bins that slid under the beds. My daughter is only 3.5 years old, and we do allow her to pretty much have free reign over her toys. We also allow her to watch an iPad, but she rarely tells me that she's bored, and if she ever does, I know it's time to rotate. The way we structure our toys and my daughter's schedule just helps her feel a lot more in control of her day, and she is able to play within boundaries that are still safe and good for her. When we first set this process up, we actually had our daughter out of the house for the day so that she didn't see us like hiding all of her toys away. But now that she's older, she actually helps us with toy rotations. She'll say that she doesn't, or that she wants to go get a toy from the basement, and we'll just ask her what toy she would like to swap out. And she's really good at that now. And although we don't do that with our son yet, he's only 10 months old, it is good to have them kind of learn to be part of that conversation, that they don't need to have every single item they own out in front of them. So we just limit it, one toy in, one toy out, and that's worked really well for us. We really just go off our kids' behavior and observe just kind of what works best for them, especially because their phases always are changing and what they enjoy playing with always changes too. Do you guys do toy rotation? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your tips or what's worked well for your family, since everyone is a little bit different.